The Green Lanterns are currently in the process of rebuilding after Hal Jordan returned from the dead. He brought back the Corps and discovered a few villains and things that are going on. But with the revival of the Corps, we have Guy Gardner gaining a new rank and becoming more important to the Green Lantern Corps. So how's it going for Guy Gardner? This is Comicstorian. I read you audio dramas of your favorite comic books, cutting down on the panels and B-plots to give you the core of the story. This allows us to avoid copyright problems and allows you to go to your local comic book store and buy the comics yourself to start your own amazing collection. This gives you more artwork and story to gain by getting the books. But you can also use a sponsor that we have, Shortboxed, an app that allows you to start your comic book collection. This is the Green Lantern Corps to be a lantern. Natu and Mert come out of trans-warp space flying down to the planet of Beressus. They immediately leap into the fight with their rings warning them of an attack on the royal family. I'll secure the family. You run interference, Natu orders the rookie. And Mert charges into the robots, attacking the royal family, while Natu leaps to the aid of the warrior brothers, Ragnar and Stendar, who are fighting off the robots. Keep together and stay behind my shield. We'll handle this, Natu shouts, ignoring Stendar's shouts of anger at being saved by a woman. But Natu's eyes widen in shock. As the golden robot steps through her will-powered shield, a blaster pointing at Stendar's chest, which burns a hole through him. No! Natu screams, but she's too late to save him, with Ragnar leaping in with his sword, slicing through the robots as he proclaims that he will avenge his brother. It doesn't take long before the prince and Mert finish off the robots, but Natu is still on her knees staring at her ring in shock. Cursed, she whispers, and suddenly gets to her feet, flying up into the air, ordering Mert to watch over the royal family. Hey, where are you going? The rookie shouts. Meanwhile, back on Oa, Guy Gardner has had enough. He's been through his prime duty and is done with his punishments from the previous adventure, demanding that Salak let him through to speak with the Guardians about his shore leave. But the keeper of the Book of Oa refuses, ignoring Guy's angry outbursts. Kilowog finally appears behind Guy, ordering the Honor Guard member to come with him. Butt out, Kilowog. This is between me and Salak. You gonna fight me too, Pooza? Kilowog growls from behind his friend. Guy gives up the argument, turning to fly away from Kilowog, and with the training officer offering the human a cup of coffee. Meanwhile, over in Sector 2682, Vath is yelling over his comms at Ismat Cole, his partner in the sector, to help him save an aid convoy that has become trapped in the Thanagarian minefield. I need you to back me up now. Help me fix this mess your kind has made, he shouts over the comms as he tries to contain several explosions from tearing apart the ship. But Cole is suddenly there, trapping another mine that was about to hit Vath. Relax, partner. Cavalry's here. Cole jokes, his own ring containing more of the explosions and pushing the ship away. Vath suddenly whirls on him, punching him hard in the face, drawing blood. You have that one on me, buddy. But you need to do something about that temper of yours. Pretty soon, you're gonna blow like one of those mines. You better get your head on straight before I knock it off your shoulders. The lizard hisses, turning back to the mines, telling Vath that he'll call if he needs him. Back over on Oa, Kilowog and Guy are shocked to find Natu waiting for them in the officer's office. You should be with your partner over in 1417, Kilowog notes as he walks by her, but Natu shakes her head, telling the two lanterns that she is resigning. It's my power ring, it's cursed, she says as she puts it down on the desk. Back over with her partner at Beressus, the royal family is having a funeral for Stengar, but the king's daughter takes him away, allowing Ragnar to lead Mert into his personal chambers, where the prince shows the lantern all of his Green Lantern collection. Even here, remote from the great spaceways, the Corps is legendary. I've studied your history, your code, he tells the rookie lantern with a smile, pouring her a drink, holding up the goblets and toasting to the Corps. What a lantern I could be, he says with a smile as he looks at his collection, and Mert smiles as he sips his drink, telling the prince that it isn't easy, that he must be chosen by the ring. You've seen me fight. I am totally without fear. Isn't that the prime? The prince begins to state, but their conversation is interrupted as the floor beneath them explodes. Over in Kilowog's office, Guy Gardner hands Natu back her ring, telling her that everything checks out with it. It isn't cursed. You've just got a recurrent dose of rookie fever, Doc. It happens. Your ring works on yellow like everything else does. Got it? Then believe it. You need more help. You better try Mogo, he tells her. Her ring suddenly begins to chime, and an image of Mert appears with the rookie firing his ring, shouting that he needs backup. Looks like it's time to make up your mind, Red, Guy tells her, grabbing the ring, sliding it back onto her finger, and leaping into the air. Go with her, Guy! Her and her partner still got into trouble, and you're the troubleshooter. So go! Kilowog shouts, pointing towards the door when Guy begins to argue. Meanwhile, Mert falls to the ground, his purple blood pouring from the wound on his chest. For the love of Natu, where are you? He gasps as he collapses, and behind him, Ragnar has drawn his sword, leaping into the fight against the golden robots. Guy and Natu come out of trance space, appearing over the planet of Beressus. Far below, Alande is leaping to her brother's aid. You will not fight alone, she shouts, reaching for a fallen sword, but the sword doesn't work for her, and two of the robots turn on her, with a giant green Guy Gardner suddenly appearing and blocking their blasters. Wait till I tell the boys that I rescued a princess! Guy shouts with glee, and Natu appears next to him, her ring slicing through the robots as she asks Ragnar where Mert is. Lanterns, I fear your kinsman is no more. But be assured, Lantern Natu, Mert died a hero's death, he says, pointing to the fallen body of Mert. Rage fills Natu as she lashes out, green fire cutting through the large swath of robots. Meanwhile, on the Lantern planet of Mogo, Vath sits quietly on the living planet, listening as Mogo explains to him that rage can both strengthen and destroy him, as long as it is used in the proper manner. The choice is yours, Mogo says to him, and Vath sighs, nodding his head. You're right, Mogo, but too often I have destroyed that I value the most, friendships, even love. He says, but Vath turns in surprise as a voice sounds from behind him, images of his old squad mates appearing from the trees, the wounds that took their lives still displayed. And they tell him that he was the best soldier that they had ever met, that his rage allowed him to destroy the enemy. But Vath turns away from them, telling them that it nearly destroyed the woman that he loved the most. And when he turns back, they are gone. Vath finally leaps into the sky, thanking Mogo, telling him that he needs to get back to his sector. You must be your own judge, Brother Vath. Just be merciful. Back at Beressus, the battle has ended, with the prince offering the two lanterns a drink to celebrate their victory. Thanks, Prince, but I'm saving my thirst for a cold one on the beach someplace. Guy tells him as he continues to push aside the robots, using his ring to begin tracking the robot's radiation signature. Natu stands before him, using her ring to perform an autopsy on Mert. Olande steps forward. Brother, our guests are in mourning, as are we. Let them do what they must without interruption. Guy nods, getting a strong signal in the radiation. I will help you. I know my planet well, and I am its best warrior, Radnar says, putting down the glasses and picking up his sword, with Guy nodding, turning back to him. Guess I could use some local knowledge. All right, you're on, Bubba, he says, encasing Ragnar in a green bubble and leaping into the air, leaving Natu to her work and flying away. But as the lantern continues her autopsy, she can't find anything to indicate why his ring wouldn't have protected him from the blaster fire. Intense fear disrupted by survival override circuitry, her ring says after analyzing Mert's ring. Fear? I never saw Mert afraid unless... She whispers, continuing her search, having her ring analyze his bloodstream for any toxins that may have caused the fear. But the ring can find nothing. That's when she looks around the room, finding the goblet that Ragnar had left. Analyze liquid, she orders, but once again, the ring comes up empty. The investigation is then interrupted as Alande returns, asking Natu if she would like to talk about the friend that she lost today. I will find whoever's responsible for his death, and I will lay him to rest. Natu explains, and the princess continues to talk, but Natu isn't interested, ordering Mert's ring to return him to Oa for his funeral. And take me to the most lawless part of the largest city in Beressus, she orders to her ring. Meanwhile, Guy and Ragnar have tracked the signal to the spaceport, where they find a pilot who's trying to leave. Hold it, pal. I want a word. Guy Gardner, Green Lantern Corps, he says as he puts the prince down, stalking over to the captain, but the alien whirls on him, pulling a blaster and starting to run. Bad move, didn't they teach you in ugly school that only the guilty run? Guy asks, but the alien whirls again, opening fire, peppering the pair with a blaster fire. Green Lantern, I cannot let you fight alone! Ragnar shouts as he draws his sword and rushes in, leaping over Guy, his sword cutting through the spaceship, destroying it. But Guy rushes after the alien, using his ring to grab the blaster. Another hand appears, grabbing a hold of the alien, stopping him from running. Now you're going to answer to the Green Lantern Corps. First, I want to know who paid you to ship those mechs, Guy says as he begins to pin the alien to the ground, but Ragnar suddenly appears over his shoulder. Lantern, look out! The dog has another weapon! The prince shouts, leaping in, stabbing the alien in the chest. Guy whirls on him, anger in his eyes as he grabs a hold of the prince with his green hands. There's no weapon, you lunkhead! You just killed our only lead! Prince or no prince, I had to bust your ass! He snaps. But over at Barrett City, Lowtown, Natu's investigation has led her to the potion shop. She enters asking the old alien if he is able to make a potion that will make the others afraid of her. I might. Who's asking? The potion maker asks, turning to her. She removes the cloak that she wore as a disguise. Sornik Natu, of the Green Lantern Corps, she says, but the chemist leaps to his feet, throwing a vial at Natu that explodes, filling the room with gas. My mask will protect me from the 5-strength vapor. Will your ring protect you? He asks her as she falls to the ground. Back at the port, Ragnar is apologizing to Gardner, who rubs his eyes, telling the prince that he never should have brought him along. That's when his ring chimes, with Natu's voice calling him to help. We must go to her! Ragnar shouts, but Guy shakes his head, encasing the prince in a green bubble that speeds him back to the palace. No, I must go to her. You gotta go home, Ragnar. Hang in there, Natu, I'm on my way. Later, at the royal palace, the royal family comes up from their crypts, having buried Strendar. The king looks at his children, telling Ragnar once again that he must put aside the dream of joining the Corp, leave the others to serve the Guardians of Owasun. But they are shocked as they come back to the castle to find Guy Gardner waiting for them. There's another death to be mourned today, he says gruffly, looking down at the green coffin that he has created as the royal family looks in shock. I was too late. Lantern Natu is dead, he says, and as he stands before them, he explains that he found Natu in the gutter, already dead. That there were traces of a poisonous gas on her, yellow traces. Her fear finally doomed her. The so-called curse that she believed in, he explains. And he looks at the royal family, explaining that he must return her body to Oa. Then both lanterns in this sector are no more, Alanda sighs. And Guy nods as an answer, but Ragnar can barely contain his excitement. How soon will the Guardians choose a replacement? He asks, his family shocked at his brashness. And Guy explains that Mert's ring will already be searching for a replacement. With these final words, Guy Gardner leaps into the air, disappearing into space, the king looking at his son, once again ordering him to remove thoughts of the Green Lantern Corps from his mind to prepare himself to eventually take the throne. Ragnar agrees, moving off. Entering his chambers, standing on his balcony, looking out over his planet until he finally looks up into the stars and is shocked as a green light begins to fall towards him, the ring having finally appeared and floating before him. Tears begin to fall down his cheeks as the ring speaks to him. Ragnar of Beressus, you have the ability to overcome great fear. I am a power ring sent by the Guardians of the Universe. We will travel to Oa, and there you will be trained as a member of the Green Lantern Corps, the ring tells him. Ragnar cheers as his dreams come true, and he slips on the ring, rocketing into space. I shall be a lantern! He yells into the night. Meanwhile, Vath is on another planet, trying desperately to stop a tidal wave that threatens to wipe out a group of people, and he can't do it alone. His ring reminds him to call his partner for backup. You don't say. If you didn't notice, I've been calling Ismont till I'm sick of his name, damn it. He shouts at the ring as he creates another green wall to stop the water. He calms his friend again, but still receives no word. But new constructs appear, and Vath turns to find two lanterns from their neighboring sector assisting him. You cover this, I gotta find Ismont! He shouts to his fellow lanterns flying away. Meanwhile, Ragnar arrives on Oa. His ring takes him to a more secluded section where he's greeted by Guy Gardner. Thought the inside would be more grand, he tells the lantern, and Guy merely smiles, explaining that they are merely standing in the holding cells. Ragnar doesn't understand. You know, where we would have brought the captain if you hadn't killed him. Luckily, your flight logs have linked you to all of the murders. Still, we've got another one of your friends in here, he says, motioning to one of the cells. The chemist smiling and waving, explaining that he's been telling the lanterns everything. That's ridiculous, he's a common criminal. And he can only know me from the Hollow News, Ragnar says, but Natu enters the room now. No, he's incapable of lying right now. Believe me, I dosed him with one of his own truth potions. He told me what happened to Mert, how you poisoned him, she says, and Ragnar continues to try and explain himself, but the lanterns have it figured out. How Ragnar hired the chemist and the captain. How the robots attacked his family, sabotaging his brother's sword so that he couldn't fight back. You wanted to be a lantern so much that you murdered him and everyone else in the sector that you thought had the chops to become one. Then you tried to create a vacancy by killing the sector lanterns. Guy snaps, but Ragnar smiles, wondering why the ring would have chosen him if that were true. But Guy waves his hand, and the fake ring disappears. You'll never be a lantern. he says, turning to Natu, ordering her to arrest the prince. But Salik appears in the room, ordering the lanterns to release the prince, explaining that he has diplomatic immunity and that Natu will return him to Beressus. After what he's done? She shouts, and the two lanterns try to argue, but Salik refuses, explaining that his word is final. Guy isn't happy, but he lets the matter go for now. All right, that's a case closed for me, Sal. You can argue out the details with Natu. Now, let's talk about my shore leave. A short time later, with the funeral for Mert ending, Guy finally sneaks away for his shore leave with Kilowog's blessing. But Natu still isn't happy, following Salik back to his duty station and arguing with him, demanding to know how he could let the prince go free. Free? Oh no, Lantern Natu. Prince Ragnar will be punished, and you will stay on Beressus to witness it. You underestimate the Beressus Code of Honor, and you underestimate me. He says, holding out his hand, handing her Mert's former ring. Here, I have something for you. It was your partner. You will deliver it to its next bearer, your new partner. Do it when you think the time is right. Meanwhile, Vath has arrived on Thanagar, demanding to know why Isamont has not answered his comms. We're rebuilding Thanagar, Isamont explains, apologizing for not helping his partner. But he can't help it. That he has biological urges to return to his home, build nests, and procreate. He motions to another lizard to come forward and holds her hand. I'm in love, he says with a sheepish smile. But back on Beressus, the king stands before his subjects, sentencing his remaining son to death for his crime against the royal family and the Green Lantern Corps. Ragnar wishes to speak, telling his people that he accepts his punishment and he goes to his death with honor, that he is not afraid to die. But Natu interrupts, asking to speak. She steps forward, holding up Marat's ring, and Ragnar smiles, believing that the ring is for him. The bearer of this ring is going to be the new lantern of Sector 1417. The bearer has been chosen, she says, still looking at Ragnar, and she suddenly turns to his sister. Ragnar looks in shock. Alande of Beressus, you have the ability to overcome great fear. This is a power ring sent by the Guardians of the Universe. We will travel to Oa, and there you will be trained as a member of the Green Lantern Corps. Tears of horror fall down Ragnar's eyes as the king motions to his guards. Carry out the sentence, he shouts, and Natu watches with satisfaction as the prince's head is removed from his body. And there you have it. The story of Alande has joined the Green Lantern Corps in a fun tale involving Guy Gardner. I hope you guys have enjoyed this story, and don't forget to check out this channel by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. Nearly every morning, we bring you guys a brand new complete story, getting you caught up on classic comic books and brand new comic books. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and I will see you next time right here at Comicstorian.